All right, now we're going to focus on the surface area of this thing. So I'm just going to break it down surface by surface, and I'm going to start at the top. So on the top, we've got a full circle, and the area of a circle is pi r squared with a radius of 5. So on the top, I've got 25 pi of surface area. Now I'm going to go for the outside of the cylinder here, the whole lateral area. And the lateral area of a cylinder is pi dh. Now the diameter is 10 across the whole thing. So even though there's some hole stuff going on in here, we're going all the way across. And the height is 9. So that gives me 90 pi of surface area to work with. Now I'm going to go, let's go down here. There's that bottom ring, which is really just a big circle minus a small circle. So I'm doing pi, I'll think of this as big R squared minus pi times little r squared, where the big radius is, now some people would say, well, it's only 4 is the big, but we got to go all the way and include the whole part here. So go all the way to the axis of rotation. So really it's going to be pi times 5 squared minus pi times 1 squared. So there's 25 pi, but we're getting rid of just 1 pi. So that ring underneath is 24 pi. Now we've started at the top, we've kind of worked our way down the outside, we're on the bottom, but now we can touch some surfaces inside this hole. So the first thing I would do is, the first surface I could touch is the lateral area of the cylinder that's inside here. So the lateral area of the kind of inner cylinder would be equal to pi dh as well, but it's going to have a different diameter and a different height than the main cylinder that was on the outside. It's only got a diameter of 2, and it has a height of 5. So there's 10 pi of surface I can touch. And then I've got the lateral area of the cone that could wrap around inside of here. So the lateral area of the cone, which is pearl, pi rl. And the radius of that cone is 3. Now the slant height, there's really a right triangle that's in here that is 2 high by 3 long. And so if I did 2 squared plus 3 squared, that'd be 4 plus 9 is 13. And so this slant height would be the square root of 13. Now this doesn't really work out to be too much here, so I'll just call it 3 root 13 pi. And then last but not least, there is this ledge that's kind of in between the cone and the cylinder that I could technically touch in there. So I've got another really big circle minus little circle situation going on here. And the big circle has a radius of, that'd be 3, that's the cone circle, minus the small circle, which would be the circle for the cylinder that's down below it. So I had a radius of 1. So now I've got 9 pi minus 1 pi. There altogether is 8 pi. So now I have covered every surface in this shape. So now I can come over here and start adding up all my pi terms. So all the pi terms that really add together would be 24 pi and 8 pi. There's 32 pi. Plus 10 more pi, there's 42 pi. This really doesn't work out too well, so we're just going to hold on to it later. 42 plus 90 would give us 132 pi, and then 132 pi plus 25 pi is 157 pi. So I've got 157 pi plus this other term that really didn't add too well with it because they weren't like terms. So you could say that's your answer if you want. Both of these terms have pi's in common, so we could say it's really 157 plus 3 root 13, that quantity worth of pi. Or we could, where'd my numbers go? There they are. If you really wanted to, you could figure out, well, what is this as an approximate decimal? And it is 167.82 worth of pi. Or you could say, well, what's all of this is just one single number, and it's 527.22. And again, these would all be units squared, units squared, units squared, or units squared. Any of these four answers would be perfectly fine, in my opinion, for the surface area. And that's it for the surface area of that monstrosity.